Hello, how's everybody doing? So I wanted to show a little InDesign today. First we have Illustrator here, and this is a presentation page that was put together with a persona that has some just dummy text and a photo. What we'd like to do is eventually we're going to create a presentation over in InDesign instead of doing in Illustrator, because you'll find some features in InDesign that make creating a multi-page PDF a little bit easier. So let me jump over to InDesign. So this is your starting screen in InDesign. I'm just going to hit Create New. So we got a new document. This looks pretty similar to what is in Illustrator. I'm going to change my units over to inches, and I could just call this presentation. I think by default facing pages is turned on, so you might want to turn that. Facing pages if you're doing like a book where you have like a left side and a right side, but we're not going to have that. I'm just going to do 5 pages. You can always add pages, take pages away. If that isn't the right amount, that's fine. Start on number 1, and also you might want to open up margins. I had a half an inch default margin. It's a little big. I'm just going to put it down to a 1/4 inch. And then I'm going to leave everything else kind of how it is. So I'm going to hit Create. Alright, so we have our blank page. So a lot of things in here are very similar to Illustrator. You'll find text tools and select tools and typography tools and color and shapes and strokes and things that are fairly similar over in Illustrator. But InDesign in several ways kind of takes things a little bit further. So the first thing I want to show you is the concept of master pages. So if you don't have your Pages panel open, you can open that up. Also, if you ever need any panels, check your windows, because you can go to your panels, open up panels from window. If you ever lose track of any particular panel or the layout isn't good. You can also kind of set your workspace to essentials. You can reset that if need be, or you might try a different workspace, or even create your own if you like. So the concept of a master page is, say we're doing a presentation, and maybe on each page we want to actually have some headers or footers that will be the same on every single page. So let's say for this document, I want to have some, kind of like a title page. We have like a page 1. And then beyond there, we want to have different pages, but they all have the same headers and footers. So what I'm going to do here on, let's just set up a master page first. So what a master page is it's a type of page. It's kind of like a page template. And if you double click on actually that master page, you can kind of confirm down here in the lower left which page you're on. This allows you to edit that master page, that master template. So I'm going to just grab the type tool, and I'm going to drag out a text box, and I'm just going to put CGT 356 Josh Polk. And I'm just going to kind of tighten up that text box there. And so this is my kind of the text I want in the header. So I'm gonna keep it up here up top. I'm gonna keep it inside that margin just in case. I'm gonna have a little margin in case I want to print. Sometimes you can't. Depends on the printer. You may not be able to get all the way to the edge of the page. So then you might have some shapes or some line shapes, different things, depending on kind of what you want to do with it. Let's see. Let's pick a color for this. For a line here, so we got strokes and lines. Actually, I don't want any stroke. Let me see. Jump up here and do no stroke, And then for my fill color, I'll do my fill color up here. I'll just do a black. And let's just draw, oops, let's just draw, drag and draw in just a line of some sort. You could also do a line. I guess this is more of like a shape. It's kind of heavy. Maybe we could do like a like a gray, some sort. So whatever you want to put up here, it doesn't really matter. Just want to kind of get the master page concept put across. Another thing we might want to do is actually add page numbers on each page, which will be nice. So if you did this in Illustrator, for each page you're on, you had to actually, for each individual page, you had to manually put the page number. So more like Microsoft Word or something like that. In this case, we'll be able to actually just insert a page number. So I'm going to grab my type tool again. I'm just going to drag it out over here, and I'm just going to put a little, actually I don't even have to put a placeholder. Let me bump up the size a couple points. And what I want to do is go to type, and then, let's see, insert special character, markers, and then the current page number. So because we're on the master page, it actually puts an A right there, and that's just kind of a symbol showing us that that's going to be the page number. That'll actually get filled in with the page number. So let me actually select this, and in the I'm going to align center, because let's say maybe my page number might go to 100 or something. You never know. So I kind of have some room in my text box here. I'm just kind of positioning that in the lower right corner here, and that's going to be my page number. So let's go back to, so you could do much more to this. You could add a logo. You could do any kind of thing you want to it. Actually, let me grab this graphic from the Creative Cloud, which I'll talk about in a second here. Let's just say this is my logo. And we've got that. Click and drop that in there. And let me resize this. Alright, so let's just say this is our master page. Actually, I kind of want it up here possibly. Let's try that. There we go. So that's our master page. So let's go back to our pages panel, and you'll notice that each, if you the thumbnails are kind of small here, but if you notice that each one of these have a header and footer in that little thumbnail. And now if I double click on page 1 there, this is page 1. You can actually scroll these pages. They're kind of set up like artboards. So you'll notice that I have, that master page has my graphics and text that I put on the master. And you'll notice also that my page numbers are now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is very useful. Now remember we said we wanted that an additional page that had kind of like a title page that maybe doesn't look quite the same way. So I'm going to actually go down here, and I'm going to do create a new page. And it stuck it down here at the bottom, but I'm going to drag it up to the top. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. They're all kind of the same right now. So this top page, what I'm going to do about this one is actually I'm going to put, there's a none master page, so that means that it really doesn't have anything on it. Also note that you can also have multiple master pages, so if you have different page templates that you want to use, you can do that. But to do this, you can just click and drag that over to that first page. And now if we scroll up to the top here, now our first page is blank. It's pretty much, we can do whatever we want with it. You'll notice that these other pages have like an A to indicate it's the A master, but this top page doesn't have anything in the thumbnail there. So it's kind of its own page, and you can do whatever you want. So then on here we could say, let's do a type tool, Josh Bulk, select it all, make it bigger, center it. We could say CGT 356 project. Change the color, change the font. You can kind of do whatever you want with it. Position it however you like, and that's our page, our title page. Now notice our page numbers kind of start off with 2 here. That's because it's still counting this as a page 1. I think we can fix that. Let's see, this little arrow right here, if you kind of double click on that, you can actually tell it to start page numbering at 2. It's kind of a trick there. And then, so, actually, I did that wrong. Let's see. So actually start page numbering at 0. Let's see what that does. No, let me do that. All right. Actually, I missed a step there. So what we need to do is actually, in your pages, there's a kind of a menu in the corner here. Click that, and then go to uncheck Allow Document Pages to Shuffle. That's the first step, and then actually make sure you're on that first page that you want to be number 1. You can right-click that and numbering and sections options, and then say Start Page Numbering at 1. On that page there, hit OK, and now you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now we have our start page, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just like that. All right, so we could put a logo on here, whatever we want, or a graphic. I'm going to hit Command and scale this image. Just kind of drop that in there. So whatever that's about is fine. All right, so one thing I want to talk about this Creative Cloud thing, what I'm doing here, and images in InDesign as well, just because images act a little differently than how they are in Illustrator. So actually, let me jump over to Illustrator first. So I have this nice template that I created for my persona here. I want to reuse this over in InDesign, and I might reuse it a bunch of times. Like this might be my standard business persona template that I'll use over and over and over again. So you could just you can go in here and you can copy and paste. You can copy it here, go over to InDesign, paste it over there. But I'm going to do something different. I'm actually going to store it in a Creative Cloud library. So if you're logged into your Creative Cloud account in Illustrator, you'll have these libraries, and I'm actually going to create a new one. So I'm going to create a new library, and I'm just going to call it CGG 356. Hit create. And this, you can save, as you can see, some of my other libraries, you can save colors and brushes and images and vectors and all kinds of stuff. So pretty easy to do. I have this whole graphic and text combo selected, and I'm going to hit this button down here. You can also drag it over, add graphic. And you'll now see, and I can kind of double click on this and give it a name as well. I could say persona template. And so I have that over here now in my CGG 356 library. Let me jump over to the internet here, and over here at adobe.com, I am logged in to my Creative Cloud, and here you have all your different things they let you do online. But you'll see that there is assets and there's libraries. So you can actually kind of check out what's in your libraries here, and these should all sync up if you're kind of hooked up to the internet and everything. So I might have this under recent, possibly. Or let me see, let's jump to libraries, and let's see, 356. There might be a slight delay in this popping up. Let me see, let me do a refresh. Here we go, I refresh one more time. I noticed that my Creative Cloud app, actually, I had paused the syncing for some reason. Alright, so here's our library, and we can see all the different assets that you have in here. It can be shared, lots of different things you can kind of do. You can sort by the type and see that particular folder. So now let's go back over to InDesign, and I should be able to look and find that there's my 356 folder. It popped up there. So I can look at that library, and now I have that persona template over here. So I'm going to go, Now, we worked on that master page before. Now we actually want to jump on that page 1. We'll just say we're going to put this on page 1. This is going to have its own content. And so make sure that, this little number down here is the number of page that you want to jump on. And it's pretty easy with this graphic. All you have to do is grab it and drag it over. So then it kind of shows a little thumbnail of where you're going to put it. If you click, it'll just drop it as its default size. But if you click and drag, it allows you to kind of size it to the size you want. Alright, so real quick about any kind of image. I believe this acts as an image. I'm not sure. You might be able to go in and edit elements. No, actually it comes in as an image. So one thing about any kind of images that you have. So InDesign's a little weird in that when you have an image, it actually comes in as 2 components. There is a image frame that kind of holds that image, and then there's the image itself that's kind of inside that frame. So you'll notice that there's this double circle thing kind of in the middle here. And if you grab that, you can then kind of see the difference. Like you see the frame is this line around the outside, and then you can actually position this graphic inside the frame that way. You can also resize the frame independently of the graphic itself. But I'm going to line those up because it comes in as a default kind of lined up. And there's a trick. So if you hit auto fit, you can actually, if you just have the select tool selected, when you resize it, it kind of stays together best it can there. But if you don't have auto fit, there's one other. If you don't have that checked up here, you can actually, if you hold Command or Control on your PC, when you click and drag, you'll probably want to grab Shift as well with that, so that it'll be in proportion. It'll actually resize the frame and the graphic together. Also note that when you can use this frame to kind of crop the image in as well, if you make it less than the image, and then like I said, you can reposition that within. So I'm going to undo that. So now we have this element, and we can use this on other pages as well. So you could either copy it from here or drag it back again from over here and use it as many times as you want. Notice that it has a little cloud on it. That's showing that that is an asset that came from the cloud. Let me show you if you added your own independent kind of images in here as well. You can go to File, Place, find that image wherever you're going to put it, or you can even do other assets. So I have this JPEG here. I am going to hit Open, and again I have that little thumbnail. You can actually open up multiple images, and it creates kind of like this thumbnail gun where you click, 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 and it drops the images however you want them. So like I said, you could just click and get the default size, or you can click and drag and get how you want that image to be. So then our last step then is whenever you're finished doing what you need to do, you can go to File, and there's presets. You could do like high quality print, something like that, or you could just go to Export and find where you want to put this. It'll be fine. And then you get all kinds of different export options. And really, for just a default PDF, you really don't have to do too much, but there's different kind of compression and marks and bleeds and that kinds of things. I'm just going to do this high quality print preset, which you can also access from there. I'm going to hit Export, and that's going to save out that PDF to that location. Then if I go and pull that up, here's our title page with that image I brought over. Page 1, page 2. Notice that my header and footer, everything, because I'm using that off the master page, that's all based on that master. So it's consistently sized. Every page is 8.5 by 11. It's nice, neat, and organized, and you can bring in that content for your PDF. Alright, so I hope you found this helpful, and if you're new to InDesign, maybe a little introduction to what some things you can do in here. Also keep in mind that Creative Cloud where you can share assets between programs, even between users and things like that. So hope you learned a few things here. Thanks.